What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Hope everyone's having a great long weekend. I don't know if you even have those in America right now, but this weekend we get a long weekend in Canada. And today I'm going to be dropping some knowledge on you folks out there that have been struggling to draft in Madden 20. I'm going to use some of my own experience. The Reboot Christianity, a draft guide we've used for the last couple of years, has published for Madden 20. We're not going to go through word for word and really the whole document that he has published because I want you guys to check it out. It's in the link. I think he has like a little bit of a donation too. He's been doing these draft guides for the last couple of years. They are very good, but I'm just going to more so go through the big time bullet points on how you can dominate your scouting and know what prospects you should draft immediately. I'm not going to go through every single tip and trick that I possess because I still think there's some entertainment value in watching me draft well in my rebuilds, but this should be a tremendous starting point for those of you that are struggling with the new ratings curve in Madden 20 to get the most out of your drafts, to maximize your drafts and understand how to draft better. Let's be honest, there's no one that drafts better than me.
Yeah, I just wanna be the greatest. Everybody knows my name, shit. I'ma have this whole fucking game list. Spitting with this.
I should be sponsored by DraftKings, undefeated in Param Co's Draft Wars. My resume is as long as, well, that's not PG, but moving on. Let's take a look here at the scouting guide. Like I said, guys, I'm not even gonna touch base on, you know, what we'll say literally the document for Reboot Christianity. We're talking about 50% of the things. Go check out the rest of the guide. It'll help you, give you some nice little tips and tricks. But let's just jump right into it, and let's take a look here at finding a quarterback. Arguably the most valuable position to draft, the hardest position to draft. We have a target value of 66. So what the target value does mean is anyone around a 66, you should feel like you have a very legitimate chance at developing and growing them. Looking at what a good quarterback will have when you're just scouting his abilities, you gotta have at least an A or better throw power, B plus or better, short accuracy, medium, deep, or throw under pressure, and his talent grade is gonna be at least a third round or above. Now, what this means, you're gonna see this for a couple of these positions. When you see talent grade, Reboot Christianity has determined that that is a big time indicator of, talent is like what round they should go into. A big time indicator of their awareness, and awareness is always fairly important, at least when it comes to a base rating. So I never actually knew that. I don't know if that's been in the game for the last couple of years, or is that something he just discovered for Madden 20? But there you go. That is what you want to look for a quarterback. So what we are looking here next is the running backs. Running backs are going to carry a target value of 74, and you're going to want 3 of the following with at least an A- for one and a B+ as a minimum in ball carrier vision, elusiveness, juke move, spin move, and or break tackle. Based upon their combine stats, you're going to want something that is better and faster than a 4.59, better than a 7.25 3-cone, and a 4.40 shuttle. So pay attention to those at the combine. If you get a bunch of guys that fit the criteria of at least one A-, a couple B+, then you can start to differentiate from the combine stats who is truly going to be worth your drafting ability. And he also notes in his guide, kind of ignore carrying, trucking, and stiff arm. There's just too much variation, and a lot of bad players actually will have high carrying, trucking, and or stiff arm. And just mainly focus on BCV, elusiveness, juke, spin, and break tackle. Moving to the wide receivers with a target value of 66, a good wide receiver will have at least one of the following: B+ for at least one, B- for the rest of the minimum, so the other two will be at least a B-, and a talent grade of 3. You want to see the abilities in catching traffic, spec catch, short, medium, and deep route running, as well as release. And as you can see here, the combine stats fairly similar to a running back there. You're gonna want above a 4.59. 4.59 is pretty much the cutoff. 7.20 3-cone, 4.30 shuttle. I personally found wide receivers to be a little bit easier to draft this season than years past. I don't really have any information to back it up. It's just, at least through all the rebuilds that I have done so far, I've been having better luck with wide receivers this year than I have, say, even just of last year. So moving to the group of tight ends with a target value of 74. As you can see, you need B+ for at least one, with a minimum of B- and at least a projected round of 3, with said abilities being in catch and traffic, spectacular catch, short, medium, and deep route running, as well as release. Big difference from last year, Madden 19. I almost look for the fast tight ends, but according to him, speed doesn't really mean a whole lot here for tight ends. It's the 3-cone and the shuttle that you really want to focus on to get the true value at the tight end position. But it is a fairly difficult position, and he did note in his guide that the projected round for a tight end, while it is valuable across the board, the projected round, getting one that's at least 3 or above, is very important this season for the tight end position. Going to the offensive line. Offensive line, I'm not even going to lie. You don't even need to look at this thing. Get high bench press. Anyone that has 32 or above bench press is going to be solid in this year's game. I'm seeing lots of value late. Spend all your other scouting points on every other position and then wait at the end of the, like, you really straight up, like, after the main season. And once you get to those couple scouting periods before the draft, that's where I would start to kind of look at the offensive line, because really you could pretty much eliminate anyone that didn't have 30 in the bench press. This guide says you need to have at least 25. I think it needs to be higher than that. I think for 25, I wouldn't draft anyone that's not a center that had under 30 for the bench press. But for his guide, you want B for at least one, and a minimum of C+ for pass block power, finesse, run block power, and impact blocking. But offensive line, that is where you get your best value. And I'm noticing a lot this year, especially if you're just using randomly generated draft classes, that there are a lot of value offensive linemen projected to go undrafted. Like straight up for round 6 and 7, if you need O-line or you just want to build up your depth, I would just look and scour through the UDFAs or projected undrafted free agents. There's usually a couple guys that have well over 30 in the bench press there, or at least 30 minimum. I'd take a gamble on them. I'm finding lots of guys that are that 66 target value, if not better, at that offensive line position. So moving to the defensive side of the ball, we will start with defensive end with the target value of 74. A good defensive end will have at least a B+ for one of these skills, with nothing lower than a B in tackle, pursuit, finesse move, or power move. Now you're also going to want to pay attention to the 3 cone, which would be at least a 7.5 or better, a shuttle of a 4.6 or better, and a bench press of 25 or better. And he does state throughout this for every single player on the defensive side of the ball, and this has been a known fact. I can definitely back this up. Hit power, it's a very common trait that you can unlock during your scouting. Ignore it. It means nothing. He actually has the analytics that says it is not worth more than 2% on any defensive position to the rating. So while hit power is kind of cool, it is, for your safeties and linebackers in particular, having high hit power can be fun, especially when you're using the hit stick. Ultimately, when you're drafting, it is pretty much useless in defining what a prospect rating and value is going to be in the draft. Moving to defensive tackle with a target value of 74. You're going to want at least B+ for one of these, with a minimum of B- for tackle pursuit and a block shed. 3 cone, you want it to be 8 or better. Shuttle 4.90 or better. Bench press 30 or better. D tackle along with offensive line, I feel like, are the two easiest positions to draft. Obviously, O-line will always be number 1, but I find for D tackle, bench press is, again, very, very adamant. Usually, I don't know why it is. I noticed this in Madden 19. I find like the guys that have the high bench press, more often than not, are very fast too and have some of the best 40-yard dash time. And while that's not a highlighted stat here, it's just a 3 cone, the shuttle, and the bench. I know 40-yard dash time is, I always personally find it pretty good for my defensive tackles. If they have a good 40-yard dash time, it seems to be a really good value at defensive tackle. But again, a very easy position, in my opinion, to draft. I will say, if you need a nose tackle, there's usually not a lot. Like, it feels like the average weight for a defensive tackle doesn't really line up for what it is in real life. In real life, you see a bunch. Like, usually every year there's like 5 or 6 like pure nose tackles, guys that are 315, 320, 325, somewhere in that range. But I'm noticing, especially here in Madden 20, it's early. Most D tackles are like around, between that 295, 305 mark. So there's not a lot of nose tackles in this year's draft. Hopefully that gets improved for anyone that's running a 3-4. So now moving to the outside linebacker position with a target value of 66. A good outside linebacker will have at least a B+ with nothing lower than a B in tackle, pursuit, and finesse move. As you can see for the combine stats, better than a 4.70 in the 40, 7.5 in the 3 cone, 4.6 in the shuttle, and above 20 in the bench press. I'm not going to lie, outside linebacker is one of the harder positions for me to find really, really good value. They can lie a lot. That's why the target value is so low at 66, because you'll see a guy outside linebacker, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round that has a lot of Bs. Nothing within a Cs. Like, it fits these parameters, and still he won't do good. So you really need to pay attention to the combine stats. I noticed that is the key to getting something better or equal to a 66, if not just completely whiffing on a guy that comes out and is sub 60 overall. And I personally have been missing a lot on outside linebackers, but I did not know the specifics here for when it comes to the combine stats. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong, but I will say with linebackers, more so than really any position, the flashy numbers you get for skills, like, tackle, pursuit, getting the B+ and stuff, they lie more than any other position, because you can get a guy that looks flawless from his skills, and he just turns out to be an absolute turd sandwich at the outside linebacker spot. I would say right now, outside linebacker and quarterbacks for me are the biggest two honeypots. They're giving you that set of blue nuts, if you will, for just to be completely crude. If you just see the flashy numbers for the skills, it never really lines up for whatever reason to how good they probably should be. Like you could straight up honestly get like 3 A's for an outside linebacker, and you're like, this guy's gonna be 80 superstar, and he'll end up being like 67 or something stupid like that. So pay attention to the combine stats. Moving to the inside linebacker, middle linebacker with a target value of 74. A good middle linebacker will have either an A- and a B+ in tackle or pursuit, and a B in play rec at least. So this is pretty defined, and using this should help you pretty much eliminate and decide what a good middle linebacker will be in your draft class, with a 3-cone of at least a 7.5, a shuttle of at least 4.7, and a bench of 22. So this is a really, really good tidbit here in this guide, because it is so specific that you should be drafting middle linebackers, or at least passing on bad middle linebackers from using this guide. Moving to the secondary, we'll start at the cornerbacks with a target value of 66. You want at least a C in both man and zone, and a projected round of 3. Now, I struggled last year in Madden 19 drafting corners. They did not have this whole projected round of a 3 last year. Maybe they'll help me out this season, because you can pretty much just scrap a lot of the guys. And I'm noticing for corners, at least here in Madden 20, I'm seeing a lot of guys in later rounds, guys that are projected 4th, 5th, 6th, actually have projected rounds. Like once you actually scout them, of a green 3, which is, I didn't really notice that a lot last year, so maybe that'll help you draft some corners, and that's definitely the position out of all of them that I want to improve drafting at, and hopefully this will be the case, and this little guide here will help me draft in the secondary. Plus, in the 40, you want at least a 4.58 or better, 7.25 in the 3-cone, 4.40 in the shuttle. Then moving on to the last position, which will be the safeties, the target value of 66. You want to see minimum in a tackle and zone coverage, a projected round of the 3rd, and a talent grade of 3 or better. This will be revealed once you unlock all 3 of the traits, with at least a 4.68 in the 40, 7.25 in the 3-cone, 4.50 in the shuttle. Safeties this year have been hit or miss. There's been a lot of good ones. Kind of get some linebacker vibes when you get safeties that have a lot of good traits. Like they can have 3 Bs and they end up being like low 60s, even below this 66 target value. They can be a very punishing position to draft after you think they're going to be really, really good. They turn out not to be. So hopefully this guide, now that we have kind of some target combine numbers, can help me along with you draft the safety position better. So that is it. That's all I'm going to break down for this guide. I'll tell you right now, the guide is 31 pages, and this is literally 50%. There are still 15 other pages to this guide. It's a little bit more of the analytical side, but it definitely has some added value if you really want to take your drafting game over the top. So like I said, check out the link in the description. Go check them out. And I hope this draft guide does help you become a lot better at drafting in Madden 20, because yes, the ratings curve can be fairly punishing at times, but it is not too overwhelming, because this is what we want. We want the game ultimately to be harder. So this is coming from a guy that makes his bread and butter in rebuilds, makes his bread and butter in drafting well. I like the added challenge. Last year in Madden 19, I dominated drafts. If I had any draft where I didn't get at least 3 players above a 70, it was few and far between, incredibly rare. I'd say 90% of my drafts last year were, at least A-grade drafts. I was getting starters. I was getting top depth guys that I could trade and move if I really wanted to. This year, it's different. I'm still having some pretty good drafts. I'm still drafting better, I think, than most, given the fact that I just constantly look through the comments on my videos and be like, how do you draft so good? What's going on? Leaves the guy, this and that. So hopefully this will help you guys out, but I feel like there could be a small segment of people that just say, I'm going to go on Twitter, I'm going to tweet these devs and say, this rating curve's too hard, you need to make it easier, which is absolutely the wrong direction that we need to be taking this franchise mode. First and foremost, with the Fog of War, it's kind of glitched. I'm not going to lie, it's pretty bugged. I hope the first patch or 2 fixes it, because for whatever reason, some of my snaps count, some of my snaps don't count, but it is a work in progress, and we do know anytime a new feature does get implemented in our favorite games, it's not just Madden. It's annoying that it happens in Madden, but it happens across all games. Call of Duty, I play that a lot. Overwatch, Overwatch is actually usually pretty good, but anytime something new comes in, the fact there's almost a 50-50 chance that it works properly until it gets the first patch or so. So hopefully they fix the Fog of War and the snaps counting and all that stuff. But ultimately what I'm trying to get across is that hopefully this draft guide helps you guys that have been struggling and getting frustrated, not drafting particularly well, and kind of take some of the pressure off complaining and trying to tell the devs, make it easier, because ultimately we need, for the future of franchise, it to get more difficult. We need more Fog of War. We need more tough decisions. We need more punishment, I guess. You don't want to put on a leather mask and get some BDSM going, but we need to get punished. I feel like I want to have bad drafts. I want to think a guy's really good. We've had it with a couple quarterbacks that we've drafted in rebuilds. I thought they're going to be outstanding. I thought they're going to be 76 superstars, and they end up being like 64, 65 or something like that. I want that, because that adds some challenge to the game. And ultimately, I think these franchise modes need to be more about the challenge and less about how quickly can I build a Super Bowl contender. So thank you guys for watching. As always, if this guide is helpful, the like videos always help push it up the search and all that stuff. So as many likes as possible would be awesome. Subscribe if you're brand new. We still will have some more franchise guides. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want tips and tricks for. I know some of you guys want to see my sliders. My XP sliders are ready to go. I probably could do like a rebuild setup, like how I set up my rebuilds video, but my gameplay sliders, I'm pretty much, honestly, right now playing all Madden default slide. I like the fact that I can play all Madden. I felt like a little bit of a, what do you call them? Actually, is that like give me no, we're not gonna call me that. But I felt like a little bit of a baby, a little bit of a little boy playing all pro last year, trying to play off like, oh, I play all pro. I'm back to playing all Madden. It's been fairly rewarding, but my gameplay sliders aren't there. But I could release XP sliders if you guys want to see that, and maybe how I set up my rebuilds. But that will be for another video. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the love and support. Subscribe, smash that like button. We got that 100K. It's on to the next 100K, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Yeah, I just wanna be the greatest. Everybody knows my name, shit. I'ma have this whole fucking game list, spitting with the same wit, and I'm gonna be famous. Ain't nobody able to delay this. Coming up, I had a vision to make it. Never wanted to be nothing, always wanted to play shit. Sit in class, always wondering why I know the same shit. How the hell am I different if we all know the same shit? I ain't never let them doubt me, it's about me. Keep my head down, let my mouth speak. This around me, they all about the clout, see.